one of our challenges, well, not my challenge, your challenges. One of your challenges on this last exam, on exam 3 for stats, is that you need to identify what type of question are you looking at in order to then be able to do the calculations and identify what formulas to use. And so I want to go through a decision path of questions, a decision tree of sorts, of questions to ask yourself as you encounter the questions, okay? The first question, once we're through to chapter 15, the first question you want to ask is, are we talking about an association or a relationship? Between our variables? If the answer is yes, then that's a correlation. It's a correlation question. That's chapter 15. Okay. So that just easy decision. If instead the answer is no, then we've got more questions to ask ourselves. Okay. Then we're talking about group differences, because that's what's covered in chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12. They're talking about group differences. And so we want to ask ourselves, the next question is, how many groups do we have? How many groups? Okay. If the answer is 3 or more, then that's an ANOVA. An analysis of variance. That's the only type of analysis or test statistic that we've covered this semester that can handle having more than 3 groups, more than 3 measurements. So that's a chapter 12 question. Okay. Alternatively, we could have 2 groups, or we could have 1. Okay. So our answer is going to be 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, or 3 or more groups. Okay. If we have 1 group, so 1 group of participants, then we need to ask, how many times are they measured? Measured how many times measured? Okay. So if we have just 1 group and they are measured 1 time, that is a single sample t-test. Okay. Sorry for the glare from my computer. That says chapter 9. Okay. So if you're looking at group differences, you have 1 group and they're measured 1 time, you got a single sample t-test. If they are measured 2 times, that is a related samples t-test. Which is chapter 11. Okay. If you have 2 groups, then you want to ask yourself, are they matched pairs? Are the groups paired or linked in some way, or are they completely separate from each other? If your answer is no, as in you have 2 groups, they're completely unrelated to each other, they're not linked in any systematic way, They're independent of each other. I don't like to use that as the descriptor because that's part of the name of the test. If they are not in matched pairs, that is an independent samples t-test. That's chapter 10 in our textbook, right? If they are matched into pairs, so there was one example in one of the worksheets where Manon and Lucia maintained that chamomile helped her sleep. Not the faint kind with the lemon, okay? Very simple. And the example said that there were 46 participants who were grouped into matched pairs. The question will talk about matching and pairs, and there will be those key words in the question telling you they were matched on age, and they were matched on gender, they were matched on whatever the question includes. Then that, if the answer here is yes, then that's a related samples t-test. Which again is a chapter 11 question. Okay, and I'm off screen here, over here. Back it up a little bit. I don't think I can get everything. Oh, there. Okay, so it's a related samples t-test. So there are two ways we can get to a related samples t-test. Okay, so the data, the measurements, we have two sets of measurements, and if the measurements in one are linked to the other, they can be linked in different ways. If you have one group measured 2 times, they're linked because the people in each measurement are the exact same people. Here, where we have matched pairs, which is a more rare type of design, they're linked because they are in pairs that are matched on whatever variable or variables the researcher has deemed or is important or relevant, okay? Realistically, there are going to be a lot of clues telling you which question or questions are the correlation, which question is the ANOVA in the short answer. Your bigger task is identifying which question, and there will only be one of each. Which question is your single sample t-test? Which question is your related samples t-test? And which one is your independent samples t-test? So you're going to want to practice that. And there's a number of worksheets that you can do that on. The integrated worksheets where they list more than one chapter in the title, those are the ones you want to look for as you're practicing, because you want to practice identifying which question, what type of question you're looking at. And I will put this here as just a little piece. If you come to a question on the exam and you don't know how to calculate, but you know for sure that that is the correlation question, then write that. Give me something to work with. Give me something to grade. Because if you just leave that question blank, you don't upload anything, you don't put anything there, you don't write on the exam, what have you, then I don't have anything to work with to give you part marks. If you identify, or we can go with one of the t-tests, if you identify that question 5, for example, question 5 is the single sample t-test, and you write single sample t-test, and you're right, you will get some points for that. Consider that when I am grading, I am looking to give you points wherever I can see that you're getting some of the content. Now, ideally, you get the whole question, you get the whole calculation, you get to the right answer, you're good to go, right? But if you only get, this is a single sample t-test, but I don't know how to do that. Okay, but part of the task is identifying what type of question you have. So even if you just tell me what type of calculation it is, I can put it. Okay, so do your best to help me out. I want you to do well on the test. Give me something to grade, even if you're like, don't know how to do this, but this is the single sample t-test. I don't know how to work with these numbers. That's more than a blank question, okay? And on that note, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you another time.